Hello, good evening, friends. This is Dee from H&D Abroad. Tonight is another of our episodes about self-care, Black women self-care. Yes, we're going to talk about burnout. We're going to talk about what we can learn about our brains and our bodies when we embrace the idea of rest, take part in rest, and create a healthy rest practice. And I could have this conversation alone, but as you all know, I have a circle of sisters that are influencing how I choose to live life more than just inside of the move abroad space. But these are Black women who are choosing to center joy, freedom, and self discovery. And so, why not do that in partnership together? So, I'm letting you in on a conversation that I'm going to have tonight with Kat McDonald. But first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Dee. H&D Abroad is here to help Black couples consider the move abroad as a plan A to create generational wealth and to embrace a healthy lifestyle. If that is something you would like to see more of on your timeline from me, I encourage you to hit the like button, to subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. We are live at least twice a week. Most weeks we're building in new programming starting in 2024, and we definitely want to invite you to join us. I want to say welcome. I don't understand how Sandra is awake, but from Lack to Legacy, she is 12 time zones ahead of us. Tanya Brooks, thank you. Oh, hello, Sam from Black Women Build Wealth. Servant Teacher Nikki, I really appreciate you all joining. Oh, yes, Tanya, yes, this is exactly what I want to see. I actually took a shower, a warm shower with aromatherapy oils. Tanya says she just finished her chair yoga. So we're inviting you either before this session or definitely after that you consider a variety of things that you can do to be gentle with your body, to listen to your body. And I'm going to bring Kat in so that she can share more about her journey as well. So Kat, why don't you introduce yourself and Rebloom Room?
Yes.
Kat's information is in the description of this video, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Kat from Rebloom Room. And Rebloom Room is a project that I started initially to bring more joy into my life because it was, I don't know how many years ago, 10 more years ago, 10 or I don't even know, time, whatever. Many years ago, I was going through a divorce and it was just draining. And I was also the mother of a toddler at the time. And that was also a lot. And when you end a relationship, a lot of times, whether it's a marriage or just a long-term relationship, you just feel like, who am I even? What do I even like? Like what, like, you're so used to being a part of a couple. And so I know I lost a lot of sort of myself. What do I like? What do I like? What makes me happy? And so I would just run these experiments to find out, oh, do I like this? Do I like doing that? And so I would just constantly try stuff and see if I liked it. And I started out interviewing women who were solo travelers because I've always loved to travel, and I couldn't travel at the time going through the divorce and having a toddler and just, all of the things. It was not really in the cards for me to travel at the time. So I was talking to women travelers, one of whom was Adelia back when she was in Central America. I can't remember, was it Honduras or something like
Honduras.
that? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I interviewed her like for the blog way back when she was there, among other women that I talked to. And then I turned it into a podcast, and then, I turned it into a YouTube channel, and it's just kind of evolving. Now it's including a retreat and different things. I'm always running some kind of experiment. So just finding ways to bring joy into our lives. And so I'm hoping, as I'm running these experiments, that other women are finding ways to bring more joy into their lives through the experiments that I'm running to see if they can try things too. So,
Well, I just want to say, it's interesting. Probably in my 30s, I was doing that because, you're deep in motherhood, and I actually felt lost.
yeah.
Like, I have these wife, mother,
Mhm.
employee, student identities, but who am I?
Yeah.
And I encourage women to do that more than just when you're at your boiling point.
Mhm.
Like I kind of
Yeah.
felt like I had a little bit of a meltdown, but
Mm.
that those challenges come from trying new things,
Yeah.
being conscious and inclusive in your friend group.
Mm.
Something that Stephanie Perry said that I'm kind of taking to heart, is have women in your space that are doing things you aspire to. So she
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
she said, "You need to." She said, "I can be the person that's in your circle of influence that does as little as possible." So everybody needs
Mhm.
to have someone in their
Mhm.
circle that does as little as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, your championing of the Portuguese language is an example to me.
Good. Great. Good.
So, but learning language is so important, especially
Mm.
around brain health. And we're going to talk a little bit
Mm.
about
Mm.
brain, and what our brains need, and how our brains kind of tell us,
Yeah.
yeah, this ain't going the
Mm.
way it needs to go.
Yeah.
So I want to say, as my husband usually said on our channel, this is a conversation. It is a conversation between Kat and myself. But if you have comments or questions, or you are joining us in the future, hello, from the future. If you're watching the replay, we really want to make sure that we come back and answer questions if you have them, and commend the feedback that you share about your journey. So dive into the comments as we're sharing the whole idea of burnout. I was I went through an era of, when people talk about having, as we called it back in the day, a nervous breakdown, um,
Mm.
or a burnout episode. I really grew up thinking that was, there was a weakness inside of you where
Mm.
you could not stand up against the world.
Mm.
What were some of the things that you heard, Kat, or saw, um, in your life, in living, growing up,
Mm.
witnessing Black women,
Mm.
in relationship to exhaustion, burnout, and emotional fatigue?
Well, I feel like my mom probably should have stayed in therapy longer.
Mm.
Um, just Yeah, I think she would have benefited from that. Um, I don't know that I saw a lot of like overwork in my family.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't think I saw a lot of overwork, but I did see this sort of like whenever there was a party at our house, my mom just like being super nervous and like wanting to get everything perfect. Everything had to be perfect. And she was always like, she was never the one having fun when there was a party at our house. It was always like this tension, like it has to be perfect. And like this has to, and I had to be wearing the right outfit and everybody has to be taken care of. But like, you're supposed to be, isn't like the idea of a party that you're having fun? Like, Why?
Definitely should
Why?
be. Definitely
Like,
should
and then
be.
right?
That host responsibility, we take that very seriously.
Very, yes, and I remember, I think when I got to college or something, or at some point, I saw how other people do parties. They'll
Mhm.
just like throw some things on a table and like everybody come on. And you have fun while you're throwing a
Mhm.
party, which
Right?
I like that better. I'm still like I haven't gotten that like rooted that out of me because I
Yeah.
still am like, oh, I want people to, be comfortable. I want this to go well. But when I saw that there was a different way that would actually lead to my enjoying having like being a host, I decided I wouldn't do that whole like nervous thing anymore. I had to drop that because it was not it wasn't fun, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I can see where there's situations where stress is up, and then but most of your it sounds like most of the other parts of the lives of the women that you were around
Mm,
were of less stress.
mm,
So, okay, so if you were in that environment
yeah.
growing up, did
Mhm.
you notice stress, burnout, exhaustion, and were you able to see that more clearly in your own life to kind of head that off as you entered adulthood?
So I think that I didn't really take my jobs very seriously. I always consider myself a writer and with a day job. And so if it was a job, like especially in my 20s, I was like, I would quit a job. I would be like, I need a summer. I need the summer off. Goodbye. you know, I was okay. But, okay, then you're married, then you have a kid, then you have a mortgage, then it changes.
Yeah.
And I think it came with sort of parenthood where I felt much more like, okay, this is not just me. I got to be responsible. And, when I was married, I was the only one bringing in income. So that was even more. Now I'm supporting two people. Like, really? Okay. That was stressful. And so I was at one um, association for 12 years, and towards the end, baby, and I kept saying, because this is where kind of before people were using the term burnout as much, but I was
Mhm.
like I feel like I blew a fuse. I felt like I blew a fuse in my head. Is that a thing? Like
Mm.
it really felt like and, now the obviously think term would be burnout, but it felt like something had blown, like a little fuse had blown,
Use.
and
Mhm.
I couldn't remember anybody's name at work. Like, that's my sign when I know it's time to quit. But, like, I couldn't remember people's names, and I was, like, you know,
Mhm.
cynical at work and, like, just didn't I was like, "You're gonna throw more at me? You're gonna throw more work at me?" And so at that job, the one that I stayed for 12 years, at the end of it, I just literally like just walked out. I just walked out. Like I wasn't angry. I wasn't like I didn't need to have a conversation. Actually, it was in the middle of a conversation with a really incompetent manager. And
Mm.
I was like, this is not where I need to be anymore. So I just walked out. And from that day, I took like a year off. And I hung up this hammock that I'm sitting in. I hung up this hammock inside my house, and I spent hours in this hammock. Hours, like a whole year. I spent hours a day in my hammock. I did other things. Of course, I was still taking care of my kid, and I traveled. My kid and I traveled, and I went to conferences for fun, and I did professional development, learned some things, ran a bunch of experiments. That might have been when I started my podcast, that kind of thing. But like, I really, I leaned into the just not doing anything that I didn't want to do.
You've said a few things that along the way you talk about your brain's response to burnout. Uh, th-
Mhm.
I never thought about forgetfulness,
Mhm.
being a part of feeling uh, that that disconnect. And
Mhm.
I personally relate to the the fuse,
Mhm.
part of that. But feeling burnout in your body, it's more than just how you respond to the world, but I think it's also how it sits in your body. My One of my therapists has asked,
Yeah.
where do you feel exhaustion in your body?
Mm.
Um, and when there was a time when I was like, I feel it in my chest, like
Mm.
in my sternum. I feel downward pressure.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, so if you've got a family history of heart disease,
Mm.
that's a sign.
Yeah.
But not taking for granted, um, we are all of our systems are connected, and some of that I won't say for sure, if that was your case, but what I know is, when we're under stress and pressure, there's constriction in
Mm.
our brain. It decreases blood flow. So yeah, being forgetful, foggy brain, forgetting people's names, that these are people you deal with, for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week or more. um,
Mhm.
that can be a sign.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah, and
those
I recognized it in the job that I just quit too. I recognized,
Mm.
and it was either my brain having issues or my brain saying, "We are detaching from this place. We don't need to know these people's names.
Oh, okay.
We don't need that information, so we're."
Oh, I love okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was watching a video today, how to ADHD, as I am, diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, inattentive type, and that was one of the things that they talked about, is just like, you may not disengage, but your body, your brain
Mhm.
will just like, it
Mhm.
doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't compute. Something's going in, but
Yeah.
it's not going to come out. So
No.
I
We
just
don't need this. We don't need to know this. We don't need to know this. Don't worry about it. Forget about it.
and for some people that's liberating. For
Mhm.
some people, it can be a measure of frustration, where we
Mhm.
then try to lean deeper in,
Yes.
try, okay, so maybe I need to spend more time,
Yes.
at work, because
Yes.
the longer I spend, maybe it'll come to me. Maybe the words will come for me to finish this report. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll get faster if I give it more time.
Mm.
And it's a horrible cycle.
Yes.
Transition to tech. Dr. Tiwana is talking
Mm.
about, the body keeps the score.
Mhm.
When you can feel in your body, it's like, okay, this isn't just I need to go get some medicine when I'm having low back pain or frequent headaches
Mhm.
or jaw pain or tooth pain, or
Mm.
that that stress is sitting in your body.
Mm.
If you pay attention, your body is communicating to you.
Mm.
And
Okay. So
yeah.
I did have like an eye issue, a retina issue that was
Whoa.
developing.
C
Um, yeah.
that
Mhm.
constriction, I
And yes, my retinopathy specialist said it's caused by stress. It's caused by stress. Caused by stress.
whoa, I tell you what I'm trying to, when we're gonna talk about a rest practice, um, yoga nidra
Mm.
is is where you are literally doing a head to toe. check.
Mhm.
Where am I holding tension?
Mhm.
You know, where do I feel stress, in my body, and
Yeah.
being conscious about the awareness and then the release.
I love yoga nidra. I love it so much.
And so I think there is a place, if you're having gas, indigestion, these are more than just signs of if you're looking at signs of a heart attack that are unique to women.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you're paying attention to, I probably don't need to eat that ice cream because every time I have either, I'm burping or I'm
Mhm.
having flatulence, if
Mhm.
I'm having gas, my body is telling me something. And so, just that awareness I think is super important. The other piece is how I deal with other people. And I'm talking about the people in your house,
Mm.
talking about recognizing for myself a short fuse with my kids or with my
Mhm.
husband or with myself. I mean, it I'm on a hair trigger
Mm.
when if I was in a healthier mental and physical space that I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
What have you noticed? Because
Mm.
the hammock life that you have shown us and have encouraged in us, what does that give you? When did you know that that could be helpful to you?
I'm not sure. I just craved a hammock.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So short fuse. I think I don't have a short fuse, but I do get sometimes inattentive. I'll just be like focused on something else when like one of my family members is sitting right there, and I'm like,
Mhm.
my brain is like, ooh, off in the ether somewhere as opposed to right there.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's a thing that when I'm stressed, I guess, or maybe it's just a tendency that I have, I don't know. But like I have to remind myself, here we are, like eyes on me. I have to not drift off.
Yeah. Yeah. With what I didn't realize, and like I said, I was watching this new channel that's specifically talking about ADHD. The focus that you have to maintain eye contact, to stay, what do you call that? Social. The When you're in conversation with people, your normal pattern, you're
Mhm.
trying to decrease so that you are socially acceptable.
Oh, okay.
That can be exhausting.
Mhm,
If
mhm,
what I really want to do is STEM or rock or
mm,
things that might not be understood. And so Tanya Brooks is talking about hip pain,
mm,
inflammation.
mm,
I'm talking to Black women, fibroids, uterine
mhm,
fibroids,
mhm,
GYN issues.
mhm.
Stress shows up
Yes.
there
Yeah.
very frequently for us, in addition to those other things like cardiovascular issues.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I want the idea of fighting burnout. I mean, fighting burnout actually means that you can recognize it.
Yeah.
And once you recognize, even if you can't recognize what is the cause, that you can recognize something is happening in my body.
Mhm.
Once I was able to say, oh, when I'm in this situation, or when when I'm asked to do a project or participate in a process, and I have that response where I go, not again, or can't you do that yourself? Or, I don't have to be the savior in
Mhm,
this situation,
mhm,
because immediately I could just feel the tension in my body.
mhm,
That's the one-to-one that I think can begin helping you to uncouple the
mhm.
stressor from the stress.
Yeah. Mm.
So, yeah, so I mean, once you recognize those things inside of you, Kat, as you begin to talk to people around you, I mean, like Kat apparently is different from me. You were not going with the flow. You were not.
No?
You're not. You know that you. It sounds like felt like you had more freedoms to to choose a different path. That waiting for things to align wasn't always what helped you toward your breakthrough or finding what worked best for you.
Well, I'm a planner, so I do it looks impulsive, but it's not. Like,
Mm.
the day that it was like the middle of the day, middle of a conversation, middle of the week when I walked out of that job, but my desk was already empty. Like, I had nothing to bring home. Nothing.
That's I think that's all of our secret. It's just move in silence.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my desk was empty. I didn't know any y'all names anymore. I was like, "Bye you, bye you, bye person." No, I have like my teams
Yeah,
generally have been really, really great,
yeah,
which, has made it, um, like, palatable for longer periods of time, but,
yeah.
um, when the sort of nonsense starts coming at me from outside of my team, then it
Mhm.
becomes impossible. But, yeah, no, I mean, I'm a parent. I'm a parent. I need to be responsible. I need to make plans. I need to figure things out, have things in place, not just, fly off. So, but I'm not like there was a point with this job I was like, okay, I have like my retina issue is real. It's caused
Mhm.
by stress. My job is causing me to be stressed. Like it just became logical and I was like let me take some time off, let me use my sick days. That wasn't working. HR was getting pissed that I was using my sick days. So I was like, something's got to give because I'm
Mm.
not going to lose my eyesight over this job. Like that's not going to happen. So like,
I, I'm so glad that you said that. If mm, one of the benefits of an annual eye exam
mm,
is your ophthalmologist can tell you things. Your eyes, because
mm,
the capillaries are so small, are
mhm.
almost the canary in the
Yeah, yeah.
you know, that can tell you, hey, your blood pressure is not well controlled.
Mm,
You've got a lot of constriction. Maybe that's due to stress and or diet or
mhm.
things like that. And so y'all make sure you're going to your annual exams
Yeah,
because these are critical time points where you can see changes, subtle changes that when when you're getting your blood work, you can catch pre-diabetes
mm,
before it becomes, an A1C of 7 or 8. And so I know even for my husband he was able to be able to work with his ophthalmologist, and you don't think outside of your regular annual your regular doctor
mhm,
your that that there could be a benefit to making those healthy behavior changes, but
mm,
that's also indication of because he was just like, what kind of stress are you under, because I've never seen your
mm,
eyes. Those
mm,
darker colored areas,
mhm.
where he was saying you need to make some changes, or
Right,
this could be
right.
an indication of some things that are not going
Yes,
well.
yes.
So Sam is asking, many women stay in toxic environments because they cannot afford to leave financially. How did you prepare for the break? I'm so glad you asked that. So you are a planner,
Yeah,
Kat.
yeah.
So what
So
does a plan look like?
so my first break, um, I actually had I had a 401k from an old job that was just kind of sitting there. So that's what I used for that year. And I actually didn't, I just made my living expenses as low as I could, like cut anything extra. Um, and I used that. I was like, this, I need it. I can't, I don't have a choice.
Mhm,
I just didn't have
mhm.
a choice. I need it. Um, and it wasn't huge chunk, but I try and live pretty simply, and that's what I did for that year. This break, I actually got a 6-month contract that pays me pretty much the same as I was making, but this one I'm able to work remotely from wherever I want, so that's a benefit. So I can go places that are less expensive if I want to,
Mhm.
and I do. So, yeah. So, and while I'm on the 6-month contract, I am planning on building out my podcast management um, business. So, I'm yeah, I've got things in the works. Um, yeah, but and I'm still investing in my retirement accounts. I have been the whole time. So yeah, that's important to like invest in yourself, like do your like your emergency fund, your savings, your investments, like keep that going regardless, even like figure out what percentage of your income you want to put aside.
Mhm.
Every paycheck, put a certain percentage goes to my savings, a certain percentage goes to my um, retirement accounts, certain percentage goes to my kids' college.
Oh, yes, because those, responsibilities,
They
we
continue.
want them to take more responsibility, but, I mean, we are, life has to continue,
Yeah,
so being
yeah,
able to plan out, what's important, but living on less than you make is a habit, and so you
yeah,
were able to really get that in gear to
yeah.
give yourself a full year. Oh,
Yes.
that is
Yeah,
definitely a personal dream of mine, is to do
yeah,
more than just the FMLA time frame, is to really give yourself rest.
yeah. And
Exhaustion robs you of your creativity and so much of yourself, so
mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to say about before I took the time off, I was like I had some debt before, and I was like, okay, I gotta get rid of this. I have to get rid of this. So I was like also that's how like I was in the habit of living very like practically in like lower below my income, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna knock this out. I'm gonna put more more than I'm like I want to, more than feels comfortable. I want to knock this out. So I was able to go into the year off without any debt, which helped a huge. I wasn't spending my income on the debt, any debt, so,
Wow.
except for my mortgage. Yeah.
Nothing gets you more focused than, hey, this debt is standing between me and time away. Then I'm going to do whatever I need to do. There's, as Adelia talks about, Picky Girl Travels the World, she was like, you can reduce your income to minimalism, um, and increase your income. And like you're showing, hey, I have this experience. I can now take that skill and monetize it. A health scare, a health issue gets you super focused.
Yeah.
Like Tanya's sharing, sometimes it's having
Mhm.
someone tell you, this is the time where you can make changes that could give you a different outcome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you have that choice. A lot of times Black women are not getting that option. It hurts so much to read in the Exodus Summit group when someone says, I finally took my career break and 2 weeks in, I had a heart attack.
Oh, I know. God, I saw that. Yes. Good
So
grief.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, health
I'm
is so
glad.
important. Health is just it's so like when you don't when something goes wrong or you have a chronic condition and it just turns for the worse, it drives I was like, I can't I can't do this. I can't. Like it's one thing to be messing with my time, but to mess with my body,
Mm.
mm, mm.
So you've got these priorities here. You've got your child, you've got the responsibilities, but there are people looking in on your process. Her dad, community, other family members. And what I know is people have a whole lot to say. People
You
have
have
a
to
lot
train
to
these people.
say
You have
where
to train them.
they're not contributing, but they have personal feedback about the
You have
choices
to
that
train
you're making.
people. You have to train them. You have to train
More.
them.
Tell me more.
So people have to understand that you're a grown woman. You earn your own money. You do with it what you choose. That's it. I mean, if I ask for your advice, give me advice. If I didn't ask for your advice and you give it to me, you will be hearing from me less. You will not have as many conversations with me.
I feel like I was
That's
able to make that turn, Kat, later. And maybe I'm the late bloomer. I think earlier in my adulthood, I felt like I left the door open where maybe I wasn't clearly stating that this is what I'm doing. It may have come off as, and I want your approval, your advice. Like this is open for um, uh, this is a malleable idea that I'm
mm,
asking you to help me craft.
mm,
And I don't know, maybe 30 between 35 and 40, I was just like, this
mhm,
is what I'm doing. It doesn't have to, I'm really not here to have it make sense for you.
mhm. Yeah.
And now that I'm 50, I'm just like,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
I did for FYI.
yeah.
That's pretty much how it comes out now.
Yeah.
FYI, I'm
Just so
leaving the
you know. Yeah. So yeah, my dad is like he's kind of like the OG fire. Like he doesn't even know what fire is, but he's fire. Like he retired early, financially independent, like all of that. He's very good with money. And so I kind of, I watched him and he teaches me and that stuff. But my dad is the kind of person where if he gives you advice, he wants you to follow it. Like he doesn't
Mhm.
want if you ask for his like I ask for his money advice, where do you think I should invest and blah blah blah. And he'll tell me, or like even if it's something to do with my house, like which do you think, where should I put that and how should I configure that space? If he gives me the advice, he expects me to follow it by the letter.
Mhm.
So I don't ask for his advice like that anymore. You know, I know what to ask. I know what topics are going to be good.
Mhm.
So I really feel it's important for people. A lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but you're never going to have good like self-care if you don't have good boundaries. Because I see too many women putting other people's wants in front of their own needs. Like if you probably saw it around Christmas time,
Mhm.
right? People running around doing the perfect host thing. People running around standing in line for 2 hours for a turkey or a ham or something. And ain't nobody eating the ham. Like it's you know what I mean? Like
And there's
it's something you
disappointment.
clean
I've
up
done all this work. I
mhm,
put all this in and you don't appreciate what I've done.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that they need this toy, they don't need this, they just want it, they expect it, and they want it, but somebody gotta say, "Here's what I'm gonna do this year.
Mm.
I'm going to bake one pie. I'm going to bake one turkey. And anybody who wants to come can bring a side, can bring a pie, can bring a bottle of champagne. Bring what you like. And don't bring 4 guests and no food. You
Say
got
it louder for the people in the back. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because you will be.
This is the retrain your brain
Mhm. Yeah.
part of this conversation that I wanted to bring forward is once you can sit deeply into your why. You didn't quit your job without understanding why.
Mm.
You haven't made choices, the kinds of choices that have put you on a path for this is my bloom, not just my blooming season, I am blooming, and so, which means the energy I am directing to my growth. I
Mm.
don't, and so, but that does take retraining, because whether you have had a witness to um, the tropes of the strong Black woman, Black, your women are the problem solvers. You're the mom who, Mom, where are my socks? And you know where they are, and you tell your kid,
Mm-mm. No.
you know,
I don't do it.
if
Use your
you
eyes. Use your eyes, my love.
but if you felt a sense of pride, because that is how you care for your family, and you are beginning to undo that
Mm.
in your life.
It's about training other
Somebody,
people. If
some,
you tell somebody every single time they lose something, they're never going to find these things for
fish.
themselves.
Come on, we're teaching our young people to fish, because
Yeah.
otherwise we're going to be we're fishing for them at 40 and 50
Yeah.
and older. So, I mean, when you're thinking about how do I retrain myself, the first time, I want to say this, the first time you sit down to participate in a mindfulness activity, whether that is, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take deep breaths and try to clear my head,
Woo.
that I'm only going to be thinking about my breath and not what I need to make for dinner, not what projects need to be done. I will be focused on the present and the now. That is something we have never done before. And there's going to be pushback physiologically from that. When you stand in front of your father and say, what about this? And he says, you ought to do X. And he comes back and says, well, I see you didn't do that. You're going to have to be able to sit in yourself and say,
I did what I did.
I did what I did. And, what are the dailies? I said what I
I
said.
said what I said. I did what I did. Yes, I heard your advice, and thank you.
Not out of disrespect or lack of appreciation for your opinion, but to allow space for the process that looks right for you. That is going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be unfamiliar. Being able to recognize when you are critical to yourself, what are you going to say to push back on that? That growth process takes time.
Yeah.
And for those of us who have been in an exhaustion cycle, where you have been exhausted, you've quit a job, you've distanced yourself from folk, you've blocked people from your cell phone, from your emails.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that.
that sometimes it comes back around. But what happened? Because it's gonna come back. I mean, that's just the universe. When it comes, did it take you as long? Did you, what happened when you saw those things creep back up? When somebody who you were making a statement to began to offer you advice that they had an expectation behind, what did that cycle begin to look like for you, Kat?
The cycle of somebody pushing my boundaries, testing my boundaries?
Yeah. So when you're confronted with it and you decide, I'm going to change it, I'm retraining my brain, I'm retraining this relationship.
Yeah.
What happened the next time?
Yeah, people will test your boundaries if you know, that it's just a process of resetting it, maybe having a conversation. I thank you for caring about that, but I'm going to deal with it myself. I might come back to you with a question about it. Maybe I'll ask your advice, but right now I want to do this on my own. It's just a conversation sometimes. If it's somebody that you care about and you want to continue the relationship, you can just say, "Listen, I'm doing that on my own right now." Um, or you can just listen to it, nod your head, and change the topic. You don't have to it can be like, "Okay, thanks, bye."
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
is a beautiful out. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah,
Thank you for yeah, because these are people who are investing in you
mhm,
that you know they don't have an impact on your life choice.
yeah, yeah,
And so having that sense of and for some of us, we battle with that. We
mm,
battle with, hey, unsolicited advice is appreciated, but
yes.
you
No,
take what
unsolicited
is
advice is not
beneficial.
appreciated. It is not, especially unsolicited parenting advice. Oof,
Okay, that part.
take it. That's a no.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, and when you have to block people, blocking them
Mhm,
for your sanity,
mhm,
um, yeah, that
yeah,
when you
mhm,
know that relationship is not healthy for you,
yeah,
then where can you go from there? So you have to continue to nurture that part of yourself, to
yeah,
nurture your quiet time. So
mhm,
yeah, if you all have an opportunity to like Rebloom Room, you will see Kat sitting in the various hammocks because I saw you outside today.
I have an outdoor hammock too. Wasn't today, that was an old video, but yeah, I
Oh,
have, like, in the warm weather or even in the fall sometimes, I have a hammock in my backyard and I have it in my indoor hammock. But one thing you said about sitting quietly, meditating, honestly, when I was going through my divorce, my head was going a mile a minute, and there was no I tried quiet meditating. That did not that was not because my mind was like, "Boop a doop, boop, boop a doop." Never gonna that did not work. Um, Guided meditation, that's what I like about yoga nidra because it's a guided meditation,
mhm.
and so you're listening, and so you're not you don't have to. Because if you're sitting there trying to be all quiet and your brain is going a mile a minute, it is frustrating. It is scary to hear all those, like, you know, a worst case scenario. Here's the worst thing that could happen. Here's another worst thing that could happen. Here, let me tell you about something else that probably could have happened in the past, but you didn't know. Like, no, like there's a time and a place. Like, not every tool is going to work at every stage in your life. I think
Mhm, mhm.
try like that. I'm a big fan of experimenting, as you know. Like, tried the quiet meditation at that point in my life. That was a big no. I kept, that was no. But the yoga nidra and doing other, like, active yoga, um, swimming, like, there are different things that you can do if your mind is going a mile a minute and you can't get it to stop. Maybe that quiet thing is not
Not your thing.
ticket.
It's not.
Not at
Uh,
that moment. It could be later, when you're feeling more calm. Quiet meditation could be just the perfect thing for you. But, don't like keep trying something because,
you're trying to shove yourself
yeah.
into something that does not give to you. I use Insight Timer.
Yeah, I like them too. Yeah.
The I don't want to call it chanting. There are women singing,
Mm,
and that's what I love.
mm,
It's like the singing affirmations, and
mm,
so they will, you know, um, they will say, peace is here,
mm,
peace is here,
mm,
peace is here.
mhm.
And I'm just like, yeah,
That's
yeah,
good for you.
I will
Yeah.
just, and
I love a
so,
good sound bath. I love a sound bath.
oh,
I got into those for, like, especially during the lockdowns, I was really into sound baths. They were very
absolutely. There are so many options and
yeah.
opportunities to find what works for you. Breath practice is something that I have used on this channel before that we're going to do. Hopefully, if I can remember at the end,
Mhm.
we're gonna do some breath work together.
Mhm.
But Alicia Renice is someone that I am bringing forward continuously in this space,
Mhm.
in this self care space. Because today she posted a video, "The Art of Doing Nothing: Healing from Burnout to Thrive as a well rested Black woman." And the idea that doing something, productivity, I feel like is is my validation.
Mm.
Um, and that rest comes after I do a thing.
Mm.
And like that is the cycle, that is the retraining,
Yeah.
is I deserve rest.
It's hard to do nothing. If you're not used to it, it really is hard.
You know,
Mm.
when you were doing, you did a series of naps.
I did.
And
I think it was
I
this
looked
summer, right? This summer?
I looked forward to them because
Oh,
I was just
good. Okay.
like Stephanie said, sometimes you need somebody to tell you it's nap
Lay
time. And
down.
you were just like, look, it's nap time, ding. It's
Lay
like
down.
after a while,
Mhm.
it's like Pavlov. I'd hear
Mm.
that thing and I'd
Mhm.
be like, oh, here's my pillow. I would lay my blanket
Yeah.
behind my, my desk chair and I had a pillow. And, I might not be able to get in a completely prone
Mm.
position, but that is a practice. And believe it or not, the more you have this retraining where it is regular, it is predictable,
Yeah.
that your body can more quickly get into that relaxed
I
state.
wanna do some more of those naps. I like
Um,
that.
I'm not going to tell you that that's really why I said suggested that, but but the last 2 minutes of Alicia's presentation today, she does a guided another guided talk.
Mm.
She also does music. And so I would say you don't, if you have Spotify, if you've got
Mm.
YouTube, if whatever you have, there are lots of options to
So
take
many.
a break for your brain. So whether
Yes.
that is, sound, is it singing bowls?
Yeah,
Singing
singing
bowls.
bowls or sound bath. Yeah. Yeah.
And so where you can focus on one thing
Or nothing.
or
Focus on that, and
nothing.
you don't have to do anything. Somebody else is providing the space, and they're doing a sound, sound or whatever, whether it's song
Mhm.
or sound bowl or meditation, and you don't have to do a thing, you know?
Absolutely,
I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually, a member of Heal House, which is,
Mm.
a it's like a I don't know, it's a Black owned or person of color owned. It's in Brooklyn, but they went online and like they have meditations and yoga and sound baths and everything. It was phenomenal. It was like my lifeline during the lockdowns, and
Yes.
yeah, it was amazing. Like pretty much maybe 3 or 4 times a week I would do something with them. Yeah.
So, the suggestions here are options and opportunities.
Yeah.
January shouldn't,
Mhm.
I have over caution. Don't wait until January. If you want to get momentum, this is something you can begin today.
Mhm.
If you have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, how you prepare your body for that rest time. Um, there's a guy that has millions of podcast followers because he talks about boring things, and it's like some
Oh,
people
yeah.
just kind of need that
Oh, I love those like boring. There's like a couple podcasts like boring stories.
stories.
I love it.
It
Love
just
it.
goes nowhere,
Yeah.
and so
Yes.
those are
Yes. The
those are opportunities.
sleep routines are so lovely. They just really kind of wind. I'm already doing my sleep routine now. I have got my tea and I've got, I'm in my caftan, which is like
Oh yes, we
my
got
relaxy time. Yeah, very important. Very important. I did let me see, sleep time. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about sleep a little bit because
Mhm.
it's super important. And I think people are recognizing that more and more now. It's
Mhm.
hard when you have little kids in your house. That is always a challenge. Babies, forget about it. But when you have little, grandkids or your own kids, whatever, that can be a big challenge. But I think almost my whole life I've prioritized sleep. Like even as a
Mhm.
teenager, when I loved staying up late, I would sleep it out. Like I get my 8 hours almost like pretty much every night. It's 8 hours. Like, and even in college, I did like as an experiment, I did one all-nighter. And I was like, not for me.
Oh
No, thank you. So I
no.
got my eight
I
hours.
was the all-nighter in college, and then, what you can do in college, you just can't do even at 25. I was like,
Mm, mm,
noticing those changes. I did not
mm.
know lack of sleep is a physiological stressor
Oh,
on
yeah.
your body.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
bad for your brain. It's so bad for your brain.
so I encourage giving space for that.
Yeah.
We self-care. I I almost it almost soft life, self-care. I want to invite you into a caring community who supports you focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
I think the retraining your brain for rest
Mm.
is also about being selfish about
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
rest time, the environment that you need for giving yourself nothing to do, nothing to think about,
Mhm.
and that whether it is like Alicia Renee says, I give myself she writes herself a permission slip.
Mhm.
You have permission to rest, whatever you need to leverage in your life to take that space.
Mhm.
When I was a young mother, my husband would come home and I would go out to the car
Mhm.
and just take a nap in the car. I mean,
I
like
know,
whatever you have to
I
do,
know, I
whatever
know
you
those
have to
days.
do, hire
Mhm.
a babysitter for an hour so that you can take a nap.
Yes.
I'm not just saying that rest is sleep,
Mm.
but rest is a space for you to do whatever is not in that productive, demanding. You
Mhm.
are responding. You're giving yourself an opportunity to respond to your physiological needs.
Mhm.
This is also a good time, and I'll probably end on this before we do our breath practice, is to recognize when you are not caring for yourself. So we
Mhm.
talk a little bit about sleep, about whether you have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Rest practice
Mhm.
is important to you.
Yeah.
Um, when was the last when was the last time you delayed eating, delayed going to the bathroom? And I'm talking about I wait to go pee, I wait to defecate, I wait. If you are not giving your body and being responsive to your body's basic needs, if
Don't
what
do
you need
that.
to do
That's
is
what
give yourself permission. I got to go to the bathroom. Yes, I'm supposed to be on a Zoom call.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
We're good.
Someone's at my door. Pause. I'm going to the bathroom. I mean, like
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
yourself permission to be responsive to
Yeah.
your basic human needs,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. That's kind of why I was resentful of having when my old job asked us to go back into the office. I was like, Then I won't be able to snack on demand. I have to
Yes.
go down the hall to go to the bathroom. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like
Yep.
that. I like it.
That
I
this
wanted to
is
mention something that's slightly off topic, but it has to do with sort of, um, retraining the brain.
yeah.
Um, I guess one of the things that I did see in my mom was holding on to resentment, remembering those things that happened a long time ago that you're still pissed about, and they're sitting on your shoulder at like a weight, like holding on to grudges and resentment. That is such a weight. It is such a weight. I would love it. I don't know how to get people to get loose of their resentments and their grudges. I think that is super heavy. To leave things in the past. Um,
Mm.
I just feel like that it's such a weight that some folks carry.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, maybe I'll do something about that because I think about that a lot. Just how how much of a weight it is. It's just like if you can move through the world and just like expect expect that this is a new day and what happened back then, that was then. This is now, you know?
Wow. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would include in that space regret as well.
Mhm. Yes.
But
Yes.
just bringing that, continuing to move that forward.
Yes.
Um, you can't undo it. Even if you are reliving it, you can't go back and change the
I mean,
past.
from
You can't
this
make
day
difficult,
forward,
those
right,
choices again.
right. From this day forward, if you do the best that you can with what you have,
Mhm.
you will have no regrets. And if you in the past did what the best you could with what you had, with the knowledge, with the resources, with the energy that you had at the time, there's no regrets. You did the best you could at the time.
Mhm.
Now you can, today's the day. That was then, this is now. So you can do your best with the resources, the knowledge, the information, the energy that you have now.
Yes.
Go forward. Just go forward. And looking back with regret or with grudges or with anger and all of that, it's just a weight. I would love for people to be able to move forward just without that weight.
Uh, I will be watching Rebloom Room because I know you're gonna be able to unpack that. Um, to the acknowledgement, I did what I could do at that time. Even
Yeah.
in childhood when you were expectations about people, guarding you from bad things happening. It just there's so much about what happened in our past and just forgiving the self that I was then, that I didn't have what I parenting is a huge area where
Mm.
I feel like we talk about burnout in the work world, but
Mm.
regret or just taking yourself into that place of regret because I didn't have what I wanted to, or
Yeah.
the job, the degree, and all the things
Mm.
that I gave to get the job didn't
Mhm.
give me what I wanted or needed,
Yeah.
or you know,
Yeah.
I I made this investment and now it's turned out different. We
Yeah.
can make the best choices going forward with what we have and
Yeah.
releasing that. So I'm
Well, for our children, we think, oh God, if I had only had enough money to be able to send her to this amazing whatever, but I didn't have the money to send her. And you know, like you have this, like, and I was like, baby, I did the best I could with what I had. I really
yes.
did. I really did. I know that I did the best that I could. So I can't have regrets.
I am so glad
Oh, I hate that
to
part.
see that we can be this example.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, I crash burn. I feel like I'm in that cycle, but our kids are watching us. Our
Mm.
young people that we have influence with are watching. And
Mhm.
that when we can say there's another way, they can see that transformation in you. And that, yeah, that doesn't mean as a parent, you don't have all the answers. When we told our daughter, we've never raised anyone before, you're our oldest.
Right?
Like, I didn't have any like pre-practice being a parent. You just don't get that. I wish we did, but I'm
I'm the
here to
youngest, so I I got the seasoned parents.
so, you know,
The jaded and seasoned.
there's
Yeah.
definitely the ability to say, hey, I want you to learn from what I'm hoping that you're catching that I did well, and then recognizing that when it doesn't look like you want it to look, or the outcome isn't what you that you have the ability to overcome and make different choices moving forward, to ask for forgiveness
Mm.
and to receive forgiveness, even if the person that you're asking to forgive is yourself.
Mm.
So
Mm.
let's see. So before we do the breath work, Rebloom Room is doing some beautiful things that I know I'm going to be participating in. The details and how to take advantage of what Kat is going to talk about is also in the description. Can you talk
Mm.
about how we can work with you into the future?
Yes. So actually tomorrow, December 29th, Friday, at 7, Kathy Hampton and I are doing a free journaling workshop where we'll be sort of doing a year in review, because I know, because we did this session last year, and I know
Mhm.
that
So good.
going through my calendar, I was like, oh my gosh, I did that. Oh my gosh, look what I did that. Look what I did. So we kind of start by like just remembering everything that we did in the year. And then we sort of process it and do journaling about like what were the highlights, what were the lowlights, what do you want to bring forth, what do you want to leave behind, that kind of thing. So that journaling session is tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Mhm.
And if there's a link down there, you can sign up for it. It's free. Just let us register so we know that you're coming. You'll get a workbook that's free. Also, you can download that. Yeah. And then Kathy Hampton and I are also hosting what is it called? It's an international urban retreat in Mexico City in April. And we're going to explore the city together while we rest and relax and connect with each other. And so we're going to be practicing just how do you regulate yourself when like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around you? How do you stay calm? And even when you're in a huge city, how do you just kind of like flow through it? How do you do that? And we're going to have fun, and we're going to eat delicious food. So
And it's Mexico City. I mean, come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's a huge city, and it can be a little intimidating because it's so big and there's so much going on. So I think if folks are Mexico City curious, this could be a great way to get into Mexico City without having to do it and figure all the stuff out by yourself. So
Mhm.
come
Oh, and
along.
some great
Yeah.
events happen in January too,
Mhm.
so, in the city.
Mm.
So, yeah, Kat's channel is Rebloom Room.
Mhm.
You can find her on YouTube, on Instagram,
Yeah,
all the
that's good.
socials, right?
Facebook
Okay.
too, but I don't. And that X thing, I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with it. And that Threads thing, I don't know what to do with it yet. But I'm there.
We're
Rebloom.
there. We're there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to make sure that you saw all of the comments about
Mm.
appreciating the content you put forward
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. Thank
We had plans to talk about the color purple and just all of that.
you.
If you are in a space to take stock of your year, the
Yeah.
person that you are today, how do you feel in your body?
Mm.
What are the signposts, the benchmarks around you
Mhm.
that tell you that you're choosing to care for yourself? Acknowledge those, celebrate those,
Yes.
make decisions that will help align you in a deeper way with more areas of your life as we are preparing to enter 2024. This is a beautiful community where we encourage self-care. We are trying to model self-care. We're putting my joy is putting our audience into contact with people who are living the things that I believe are vital to the survival and the thriving of women, of Black women, whether that's moving abroad, travel, or just stillness. I
Yes.
can choose to do nothing. I don't earn it. It is my right as a human being to respond to my basic needs of rest, of peace, of quiet,
Mhm.
of joy, creativity, al- allowing more of those things into your life. I hope are help you to have a richer living experience. So we're just going to take a moment to just take some deep breaths together. So if I ask you to put, to sit, if you're sitting or if you're lying down, ground with both feet flat on the floor. Put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, where most of us, when we are breathing shallow, we really want to be thinking about taking deep breaths that will help to calm our central nervous system. So, why don't we take those deep belly breaths together? So, we're going to breathe in through our nose, then out through your mouth slowly. In through your nose and out through your mouth slowly. Breathing in gratitude and releasing what you cannot control, what you no longer desire to hold on to. I am thankful for this space, and I'm thankful that so many of our community were able to join today. Thank you, Kat, for this time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And everyone, please have a good evening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.